What is it that drew you to this protest? What do you want Wells Fargo to do?
I want Wells Fargo to take responsibility for the pain and the damage that they have caused to so many people across the country, including in my own community. The devastation not only from foreclosure, which is just part of the picture, but also, for example, from their funding of detention centers that house undocumented workers who are picked up for deportation, the abuses that have gone on in there, the rapes, people told to eat out of the trash cans, denied medical attention. The list goes on and on and on. And it's finally time for Wells Fargo to take responsibility for this damage. It's simply ethics 101.
And in a way, Matt, might this not be the answer to Citizens United? You know, let shareholders say, look, we know the Supreme Court said you have the right to do it, but it's bad business. Why hasn't that happened?
Well, I think a lot of the shareholders realize that political contributions are actually the only sound business decision that these companies can make, because a lot of them are so inefficient and so bad at what they are supposed to do that the only way they're really surviving is by bailouts and government assistance. So they need those politicians to keep them alive. And so in a cynical kind of way, that's their business model.
But here, yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think many of these companies have survived because of the protections, the bailouts, the regulatory framework that gave them this sustenance. But there's another reality here, and this is one I keep coming back to. We own these companies.
Sure.
And by we, I mean the mutual funds, the 401k pension money, all the pensions, public and private. It is public money, and if we could figure out a way to organize that public voice, we could say our shares can go to these corporations and say stop excess pay and get corporate money out of politics. That, I think, is should be the next Occupy Wall Street step.
Absolutely. That's already happening. I mean, we saw a couple of weeks ago BlackRock is already deciding that, you know, because of the imminent downgrades of some of these banks, Bank of America, I'm not sure if Wells Fargo is one of them, but they're going to stop. Morgan Stanley. They're going to stop doing business with some of these banks because it's just too risky. They need to be in higher rated institutions. I think that's going to start happening with a lot of these institutional investors, you know, unions, mutual funds, and they're going to start pulling their money.
The unions have some statutory constraints. The mutual funds, I think the public needs to stand up and bring them to the table. Father, I think you can be such a powerful voice when you get the religious community saying, wait a minute, it is not only ethics 101, as you said, but also it's our money. Do you think that is a brewing next step for sort of public advocacy in this domain?
You mean in terms of looking at it from the standpoint of values and faith?
And also that we as owners in companies want them to act in a way that reflects who we are and what we stand for.
Exactly. It's time that, you know, these things, all these horrific things that have happened in the last few years, these didn't just happen. This is not like the weather. These happened because of conscious decisions that were made in corporate boardrooms like those in Wells Fargo. They are decisions that do not reflect the values of the American people. And it's time for the American people to take back control of these corporations.